we're going to jump into donations next. And donations, of course, we're talking about giving to the church and tracking the giving. We're going to go through donations kind of the same way we went through membership. We'll start here with, we should probably start at enter donations, which, by the way, in Church Windows, you can get to the same place multiple ways, much like you would in Microsoft Windows. This enter donations button up here under the donations heading is the same as the big button down here in the middle. These menus in the middle are just, they're items that you would commonly access, and it's just a quick way to get to them. Let's go into enter donations, and it looks like I have an unposted batch from Christmas Eve. This is from my last webinar, actually. Sure, let's go ahead and edit that, and we'll put that in. You'll see it brought it into the unposted donations batch section here at the bottom. You'll notice that I have a check and a cash total down here that updated automatically. I've got my date in. Up here, there is a batch code. If I wanted to track, let's say, an early service and a late service for the same day, if I want to track them separately but post them together, I can do that using the batch code. Now, I'm not using a batch code today, so you notice this little light switch that when I hover over it says off. That grays out the entire field, so I don't have to keystroke past that every time. I can toggle that on and off as needed. Same with donation comments. I'm not going to use donation comments today. If your church does pledging, you have the ability to see whether or not a person pledges on the screen at the same time you're doing the entry. I can go ahead and leave that up. I'll leave this up for just a minute. This other button, this is the same as up here. It's the little pieces of the pie button. It says change distribution type. If you'd like the system to break down a person's giving according to the pledge, then you can definitely do that here. I am actually going to switch to manual distribution for my sample today. So when I go to do an entry, I can type in any part of a person's envelope number, if you use envelope numbers, or their name. So I'm going to guess we have a Smith in here somewhere. Actually, I've probably already used, I already have Mary Smith down below. So let's just scroll down to someone. I told you it's very flexible. You can access them pretty much any way you want. And here we go. As soon as the name popped up, I can see that Eric Bernard here has not pledged for, well, last year. I'm still in last year. Let's say thank you for your $45 check. 25 of that you want to go to the general fund, sure. And we'll put the $10 toward the building fund, and I'm going to type ORG. The remaining $10 going to the organ fund. And you see that as I put in the total, and then I started splitting it up, the system kept telling me how much I still had to account for. And I send that down to the unposted batch here at the bottom, and it's ready for the next entry. Now I'm viewing this unposted donations batch at the bottom in the detail view. There is also an account view, which if I click over here, I can see how much was given to each account, how much is entered to each account so far, and I can even click on the little plus. You'll see these little pluses and minuses throughout the program. The plus means you can expand it into something. I click on the plus, and here's the breakdown of how that $180 came around. So this is a great way to double check my totals before I print the batch, if I want a paper copy of the totals, if I want to maybe save it and come back to it later, if I'm done and I want to post it, or if I want to post it and transfer the totals over into accounting. This is the great part of this being an integrated software package. All the parts of the program talk to one another. So donations has already been reading some of these names over from membership. Now donations can post its totals over into accounting. Similarly, payroll can bring its totals over into accounting. The scheduler part of the program reads the names from membership. So it's all connected. All of it talks together in a nice, happy software family. Oops, hey, and Church Windows is also smart. I tried to exit out of here without doing anything, and the system's saying, wait a minute, you didn't do anything. What would you like to do? Would you like to post it and leave? Would you like to save it and come back to it later? Do you want to get rid of everything you did and start over later? Or, oops, I didn't mean to click that X, let me back in, and I want to add some more. I'm going to save and exit. We're back to the opening screen. Now, once I've got those donations in, I can browse them. Once they are posted, I can, let's see, let me change back a year. Looks like I need to update my sample data. Looks like I don't have 2018 data in yet. There we go. So here's all my giving from 2017. Here are those pluses where I can expand it and look at a person's record. If I need to make a correction, I can do that easily. Just click here. Let's say maybe this 250 wasn't supposed to go to the general fund. I can correct it. Let's say it was supposed to have gone to the building fund. I can do that, and I can save it and send the update over into accounting. This does a reversal and a re-entry. That way we have a tight audit trail. Everything in donations and in accounting comes with a tight audit trail. Here it is. So it's going over into accounting. It's taking the $250 out of general tithes and offerings for that day and putting it into the building fund. So I can post that, and there we go. If I'm looking for something specific here on the browse screen, and it's just too much to figure out, I've got change dates, filter, and sort. Let's say I only want to look at building fund items for donation amounts between $25 and $250. I'm kind of pushing my luck here. I don't know if this fits anything. Hey, I have some. I got lucky. So these are the items given last year to the building fund for between $25 and $250. So now I can print this information off if somebody's asking for a report of this. And all of the reports in Church Windows, you can print it, you can PDF and email it, you can export it to Excel, any way you want to get the reports out of the program. It's very, very flexible in that way. And of course, it's a good time to mention that F1 for help up here. If I'm looking on the browse screen, I press F1, it opens up the help for the browse screen. So it's very context sensitive, the help is. It opens it up for whatever you're looking at. We've talked about a number of these other things. I can look at batch codes. We talked about early service, late service. I can look at the posted batches or make a correction there if I need to. Transfer to accounting. We're going to talk about that on the accounting side. But here's something we need to cover. Import donations. If your church uses an electronic third-party giving company, particularly if it's one of these first 6, you can import the file that they send you every couple weeks or once a month without having to re-key enter all the information. Now, if you use a different company, first of all, we'd like to know because we can probably get them added to this list. And second of all, you can probably import their file anyway, whether it comes in on a spreadsheet or anything, with this generic text file import. Now, I have to throw in a little plug here. You see, of all of our import donations companies, we do have a little bit more info about Vanco than the others. They are definitely one of our close partners, and are a great way to increase your giving. Their Give Plus giving, you can give by text, by app. I use it myself actually for our church. It's very, very handy. So anyway, great company. Church Windows. Let's look at donations. Let's look at the different accounts. Now, this giving account screen, this is where we tell Church Windows the name of the account, how we'd like to identify it, whether or not this account should print on a statement, whether it's tax deductible, and if it is a pledgeable account, how by default do people normally pledge to it. Now, if most people pledge monthly and you've got one person that pledges quarterly, no worries, you can update that on their record, but at least you have a default method that keeps it simple, so you don't have to change each person's record as you enter their pledges. And if your church does not do pledging, no worries, you don't have to bother with that. So if your church doesn't do pledging, never mind this whole next section we're talking about, because we're talking about pledges. I'm going to take a look at the general fund campaign, and real easy to add somebody to a campaign. You basically put their name, how much they pledged, how often they pledged to give that amount. And on this screen also there's a start date and an end date. Very helpful for members who join during the year, for people who move away and are having to end their pledge. The end date is also helpful for multiple year campaigns, so capital campaigns where they go on for a few years. It's very easy to get pledging info in and get the reporting out of the program. Let's go under the Givers heading, and I'm going to go to Manage Givers. This is my possible list of everybody who could give to Church Windows. And Church Windows is very flexible in, you hear me say flexible and powerful a lot. It's true. Not to brag, but it is a very flexible yet powerful program. But it's very flexible in how you can track your givers. Church Windows will let you have somebody who is in membership, and they can give without having an envelope number. Somebody who is in membership or visitors who can give with or without an envelope number. You can also track giving by families. So over here, let me go back. You see number 64 here, whether it's Bill Bell or Donna Bell. If either of them gives, it's automatically attributed to envelope number 64. You can also track giving by groups. So if the adult choir has a basket they put by the choir room door on Thursday evenings, and everybody comes in with their little Ziploc bags and dumps all their change in, and hopefully some nice crisp bills in there too, you can print a report every once in a while and let them know how helpful they've been to maybe the organ fund, let's say. If we've got somebody who passed away and we need to move money from the deceased person to the surviving spouse, transfer donations here is extremely helpful in doing that. It's quick and easy. Also, cases where a family is splitting apart, you can decide who gets credit for what giving here under transfer donations. If your church uses those handy-dandy envelope boxes and somebody loses their box, hey, have no fear. Manage Numbers is right here. You can change their number. All the history goes with it. All their pledging info goes with it from the old number to the new number. Hand them the new box and hope they don't lose that one. At the end of the year, when you've got people who have passed away or moved away or just aren't giving and you'd like to reuse their number, this auto-assign number automatically kind of crunches the numbers. It fills in the gaps, so you're making most efficient use of your numbers and or those envelope boxes. Under Manage Accounts, these are the different accounts that we saw on that entry screen. We actually already talked about this, so let's go under Givers. I wanted to actually go to Manage Givers is what I was thinking. No, we covered that too. All right, let's look at the donations reports. So we have a log report, which is the detail of a specific day's giving or the detail or the giving for a range of dates. Giving summary, it's the summary, it's the totals of the giving for a specific date. The deposit slip is basically a listing of checks and then a cash total, and you can choose to unify the deposit slip with accounting, or you can print them separately if you'd like. Under our compare and analyze reports, we've got apples on the scale here, so we're talking about pledge versus giving. We have a pledge giving analysis. How are people giving compared to how they pledged to give? We have a campaign comparison. How's the building fund doing this year compared to last year? We have a giving comparison. How are people giving this year compared to last year? Step report gives you a count of how many people give between a specific range or tier or levels that you set up. So maybe $50 to $499 for a certain period, $500 to $999, $1,000 to $1,499. You set up those different steps, and the report gives you a count of how many people give between those ranges. And the statistical report gives you statistics. It gives you some nice figures like average monthly giving, average weekly giving, total monthly giving, all those kinds of nice stats that sometimes committees want or that people want to see. Under lists and labels, we can get a list of how much has been given to each account so far, list account balances. We can get a list of our envelope numbers, and we can also print labels to send out for the envelope boxes. The donation statement process, obviously a very important part, especially this time of year. We're getting a lot of calls right now in January for those who are needing to get their statements out. In this example, I'm going to kind of go through this a little bit. Step 1, who should receive a statement? I'm going to say only those who gave, because I don't really want to print a blank statement. And pledging, whether they've pledged or not. So if they have given, whether they pledged or not, they're going to get a statement. We can be a little more specific if we would like, maybe exclude visitors. We can say what accounts we want included on the statement, in what order the statements are sorted when they print or when they are emailed, and a few other options. We can change some wording if we would like. Now the system's going to go through and find everybody who meets that criteria. So this is probably going to take a second because it's scanning through the entire database, and pretty much most of the people in my database, I think, fit this criteria. So it's going to take a moment. And here on step 2, you see select the statement layout. In the statement layout, you can design it exactly the way you want here under the statement designer. It's what we call WYSIWYG, or drag and drop, or what you see and what you see is what you get. You basically can bring each field on the statement and move it to exactly where you would like to see it. There we go. Somehow it got bumped. Somehow it's getting bumped down here. There we go. But anyway, yes, you can make the statement look exactly the way you would like it to. And when you've got it looking the way you want, you can print and or email statements based on how people are asking for it. I'm going to go close this. There we go. So you can print and or email statements based on how people are requesting to get them. You can really save a lot of time, money, and resources if you can get your members used to receiving a PDF attached email that contains their statement. All the time and money in paper and toner and licking and sticking and stamping, oh my, you really can save a lot of time and money. Of course, if there is no email address, the system will tell you, and obviously we can't email them at that point. So that, my friends, is the donation part of the program, and we are right on schedule.